Lisa counted 73 cents twice, her pediatric scrubs visible through the window where 19 bikers sat drinking coffee. Until the youngest rider recognized her. She'd pronounced his daughter alive after a highway accident 3 years ago. And what the Brotherhood did next brought the local news at 6 a.m. Before I continue the story, please subscribe. I need to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can keep bringing you stories like this every day. It's just one click for you, but it means a lot to me. Thank you. Lisa Martinez stood under the fluorescent lights at Pump 6, her fingers numb as she sorted through the contents of her purse spread across the wet concrete. 73 cents. She counted again, slower this time, hoping the nickels and dimes would somehow multiply into something useful. Still 73 cents. The Honda Civic behind her sat silent. Dashboard warning light glowing amber in the darkness. The needle buried past empty. She had maybe 2 miles left in the tank. Home was 23 miles away. The rain had stopped an hour ago, but the cold October air still carried moisture. Seeping through her pediatric scrubs, the cartoon penguins across her chest darkened with dampness. A child's crayon drawing of a heart hung safety pinned to her pocket, the paper curling at the edges. Her name tag caught the light as she bent lower. L. Martinez, RN, Pediatrics. 16 hours she had been on her feet. A double shift that started yesterday afternoon and bled into tonight because the night nurse called in sick and the unit was understaffed, and there were 12 kids upstairs who needed someone who knew their names, their fears, their favorite bedtime stories. She had stayed. She always stayed. That was the problem. Her hands showed it, the skin cracked and raw from constant hand-washing, the sanitizer burning into cuts she did not have time to bandage. Her wedding ring was gone, sold 2 months back to cover the gas bill. The pale indent on her finger remained. She had cried over that ring for exactly 5 minutes in the hospital bathroom, then dried her face and went back to work because a 7-year-old with leukemia needed his IV changed, and he only let Lisa do it because she made him laugh. Tonight she had lost a patient. 4 years old, heart defect, coded at 9:15. They worked on her for 40 minutes. Lisa could still feel the small chest under her palms, the desperate rhythm of compressions, the attending physician finally calling it. Time of death, 10:02. She had wiped her eyes in the locker room, reapplied mascara that now smudged at the corners, and clocked out. Her last $20 had gone to Mia's asthma medication copay that afternoon. The inhaler her 8-year-old daughter needed to breathe cost more than groceries for a week. The pharmacy tech knew Lisa by name now, knew the look on her face when the card declined, knew to run it again, wait for the transfer from savings that had nothing left to transfer. Today it went through. Barely. Her checking account was overdrawn by $147. Payday was Friday. 3 days away. She needed $8 for gas to get home. She had 73 cents and a 4% phone battery, and pride that felt more like poison in her throat, stopping her from walking into that gas station and asking for help. Inside the convenience store, through the streaked windows, 19 men sat at tables drinking coffee. Their leather cuts hung heavy with patches, rain still dripping from shoulders and sleeves. Iron Cross MC. The back patches read. Motorcycles lined the parking spaces, chrome catching light, engines ticking as they cooled. Lisa had noticed them when she pulled in, had felt that instinctive female wariness. Lone woman at nearly midnight in a mostly empty gas station with a motorcycle club inside. But they had not bothered her. They sat quiet, voices low, exhausted from their own long night ride. She gathered the coins back into her palm. Maybe she could call Rosa, her neighbor who watched Mia during night shifts. But Rosa had 3 kids of her own and worked 2 jobs, and Lisa already owed her so many favors. Maybe she could walk inside and ask if they took credit cards with $17 left on the limit. Maybe the card would not decline this time. Maybe pigs would fly. Inside the gas station, Miguel Santos sat at a corner table, his coffee gone cold 20 minutes ago. The brothers called him Preach because he had been studying theology before Sophia was born. before life rearranged itself into shift work at the docks and weekend rides, and the kind of faith that lived in action instead of words. At 26, he was the youngest full member of Iron Cross, brought in 5 years back when Hammer saw something in him worth cultivating. Loyalty. That was what Hammer had said. Kid's got loyalty in his bones. Tonight, Preach was thinking about Sophia, about how she would turn 7 next month, about the birthday party his wife Maria was planning, about how none of it should exist. 3 years ago, his daughter died. Not almost died. Died. Her heart stopped on Highway 52 inches the rain. Her small body ejected from the sidecar when his bike went down. A pickup truck swerving into his lane. No time to brake. The world turning sideways in a screech of metal and the smell of burning rubber. He had crawled to her. She was not breathing. Her lips were blue. He started CPR, his hands shaking so hard he could barely find the rhythm, his voice screaming for help into the empty night. Then, headlights. A car pulling over. A woman running toward them, her movements sure and fast. She dropped to her knees beside Sophia, pushed Preach's hands aside, tilted his daughter's head back, fingers checking for airway obstruction. Pediatric scrubs, he remembered. Cartoon penguins. The woman's voice was calm, authoritative, cutting through his panic like a blade. Stay with me, baby girl. Stay with me. She breathed into Sophia's mouth, counted compressions, breathed again. Preach watched his daughter's chest rise and fall with borrowed air. The woman worked for 7 minutes. 7 minutes that felt like 7 lifetimes. Then Sophia gasped, coughed, breathed on her own. The woman held her, monitoring pulse, talking constantly, keeping Sophia conscious until the ambulance arrived. Paramedics took over, loaded Sophia into the rig, and Preach tried to find the woman to thank her, to get her name, to do something. But she was already gone, back in her car, driving away into the rain. Maria met him at the hospital, hysterical with fear, and in the chaos of tests and doctors, and Sophia crying for her mama. Preach never got the nurse's name. He remembered only the scrubs with penguins, and the way her hands had been so gentle, despite the urgency and the fact that she stopped. Off duty, middle of the night, rain pouring. She had stopped. Now Preach looked through the window and saw a woman at pump 6 counting change on wet concrete. Pediatric scrubs. Cartoon penguins. He stood so fast his chair scraped loud against linoleum. His brothers looked up. Preach never moved without reason. He walked to the window, stared harder. The woman's profile, the way she bent over her hands, something about the exhaustion in her shoulders. His pulse hammered. It could not be. 3 years and hundreds of miles from that highway, and what were the odds? But the scrubs, those same damn penguins. He walked outside, the cold air hitting his face, his boots loud on wet pavement. He stopped 15 feet away. The woman did not look up, too focused on the coins in her palm, on the impossible math of 73 cents versus $8. Preach could see her name tag now. L. Martinez, RN, Pediatrics. Recognition hit him like a fist to the chest. Same profile, same scrubs, same hands that had breathed life back into his daughter. The woman who saved Sophia was counting change for gas. Preach's throat closed. He knew what the club taught. Debts of blood are sacred. You do not walk away from someone who gave you everything. But he also knew what it looked like. A lone biker approaching a woman in a dark parking lot near midnight. He had sisters. He understood fear. He moved slowly, kept his hands visible, his posture non-threatening. Ma'am. The word came out softer than he intended. Lisa jumped, her hand instinctively covering the coins, her eyes wide as she looked up at him. Preach saw the fear flash across her face and hated himself for causing it. He raised both hands, took 2 steps back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. He paused, searching for words that would not sound insane. Highway 52. 3 years ago. Little girl in a sidecar accident. Lisa's expression changed. The fear did not disappear, but something else moved beneath it. Memory. Recognition of her own. Her face softened. The motorcycle crash. Your daughter. She paused, searching. Sophia. Sophia! Preach corrected. His voice broke on the name. Yeah, you saved her. I never got to thank you. Lisa stood slowly, brushing wet grit from her knees. Just doing my job. I'm glad she was okay. Professional distance, the wall nurses built to survive. Preach understood, but he also saw what she did not say. The exhaustion carved into her face, the empty gas tank, the coin still clutched in her fist. How much you need for gas? It was not really a question. Lisa's spine straightened. I'm fine. Really. You counted 73 cents twice. Tank's empty. You just worked a double shift. His tone stayed gentle. No judgment. Just observation. Let me help. I can't take your money. Preach felt the echo of his own words from 3 years ago, standing in that hospital hallway trying to thank a woman who had already disappeared. You gave me my daughter back. You think I can't buy you a tank of gas? Lisa opened her mouth, closed it. Her throat worked like she was swallowing pride or tears, or both. He watched her calculate, saw the desperation war with dignity. Finally she nodded, so small he almost missed it. Through careful questions, keeping his voice steady and his posture open, Preach learned. Single mother. 8-year-old daughter with severe asthma. Husband dead 2 years from cancer. The medical bills drowning her even after he was gone. $87,000 in debt. 3 12-hour shifts a week plus every overtime shift the hospital offered. Her daughter stayed with a neighbor during nights. The car needed a $1,200 transmission repair she could not afford. The electricity bill was 2 months overdue, disconnection notice already sent. And the thing that made Preach's jaw tighten until his teeth ached was this. Lisa was an exceptional nurse because she could not say no, could not ignore a sick kid, could not stop giving everything she had, which meant she had nothing left for herself. The same compassion that saved Sophia was slowly killing this woman. Preach listened to all of it. Then he said, "Wait here." Lisa watched the biker walk back inside, watched through the window as he gathered the other men around him. Their body language changed. Serious, focused. Phones came out. More motorcycles arrived, riders filing into the gas station, the parking lot filling with the rumble of engines and the gleam of chrome. 20 bikes. 25. 30. She considered leaving, but her tank was empty, and she had nowhere to go. And some part of her, the part that stopped on Highway 52 3 years ago, understood that something was happening here, something that required her to stay and witness. The big one came out first. Massive shoulders, scarred knuckles, a face that had seen violence and chosen afterward to be kind. The younger one, Preach, walked beside him. They approached carefully, hands visible, movements slow. Miss Martinez. The big one's voice was surprisingly gentle. I understand you need some help. Would you allow us to fill your tank? It was phrased as a question but felt like an offering, something sacred being extended. Lisa nodded, tears starting before she could stop them. Thank you. I'll pay you back. No, ma'am. The big one. She would learn his name was Cole Davidson, though everyone called him Hammer. Shook his head. You already paid. 3 years ago, he filled her tank himself. $47 of premium. His movements careful like he was handling something precious. Then he pulled a folded $100 bill from his wallet and pressed it into her hand. For your daughter. Please. Lisa was crying now, the kind of crying that came from years of holding everything together, from pride finally cracking under the weight of kindness. She accepted the money, thanked them, her voice breaking on every word, started toward her car. Hammer called after her. One more thing. Where do you work tomorrow? County Children's Hospital. 3 to 11 p.m. shift. Thank you, ma'am. Drive safe. Lisa drove away, her gas gauge rising toward full for the first time in months. The $100 folded in her scrub pocket, next to her daughter's crayon drawing. She did not see what happened after she left. Did not see Hammer pull out his phone, his fingers already dialing. Did not see Preach texting with a kind of intensity that meant action, not conversation. Did not see the club gathering in a tight circle under the fluorescent lights, voices low and urgent. a plan forming in the spaces between words. The Brotherhood had been activated. By morning, Lisa Martinez's life would be different. By the weekend, it would be transformed. And 3 months later, the woman who stopped to save a child would start a movement that spread across 3 states, helping dozens of others who counted change in parking lots and chose between medicine and rent. But that night, driving home on a full tank with $100 she had not had an hour before, Lisa Martinez simply breathed. For the first time in 2 years, she breathed without panic crushing her chest. She made it home. She paid the babysitter. She kissed her sleeping daughter's forehead. She did not know that while she slept, exhausted and grateful, and still not quite believing, 19 bikers and a network of brothers were making calls, sending texts, building something bigger than 1 tank of gas. Debts of blood are sacred. The Brotherhood does not forget. The Iron Cross Clubhouse sat 2 miles off Highway 9, a converted warehouse with concrete floors and the smell of motor oil permanently stained into the walls. By midnight, 47 members packed the main room, more arriving every minute. Word had spread through text chains and phone calls, the message simple and urgent. Emergency meeting. Debt of honor. All brothers required. Cole Davidson stood at the front, his bulk casting shadows in the overhead lights. Hammer, they called him, a name earned in Iraq when he used a tire iron to pry open a burning Humvee and drag 3 soldiers to safety. Former Army medic, 2 tours, Purple Heart he kept in a drawer and never looked at. He had watched his entire squad die in a roadside bombing outside Fallujah, had been the only survivor because another medic got to him first, stopped the bleeding, kept him breathing while he screamed for his brothers, who were already gone. He understood unpayable debt, understood it in his bones, in the scar tissue across his back, in the way he woke up some nights still smelling burning fuel and hearing voices that would never answer. He built Iron Cross MC on a principle: protect those who protect others. Veterans, first responders, teachers, nurses, the people who ran toward danger while everyone else ran away. The club's unofficial mission, never written down but understood by every member who wore the patch. This was personal. Preach stood beside him, still shaking from recognition, from seeing the woman who saved Sophia, counting change like her life had fallen so far that 73 cents mattered. Hammer's voice cut through the noise. Brothers, listen up. 3 years ago, an off-duty nurse stopped on Highway 52 inches the rain, saved Preacher's daughter when her heart stopped, never asked for thanks, never gave her name, just did what needed doing and drove away. Tonight Preach found her at a gas station counting change for $8 of gas. He paused. Let that sink in. The woman who gave us Sophia back can't afford to drive home from work. The room went silent. Someone swore softly. Hammer continued. Her name is Lisa Martinez, pediatric nurse at County Children's Hospital. Single mother. Husband died 2 years ago from cancer. Medical debt buried her. She's drowning and too proud to ask for help. The same thing that makes her a great nurse, that made her stop that night, is killing her. We're going to fix it. Within an hour, the Brotherhood mobilized. Danny Torres, club secretary and IT specialist, pulled public records. Marcus Webb, veteran with VA connections, made calls to hospital contacts. Rick Costa, union electrician, accessed utility company databases through a buddy. The picture emerged piece by piece. $87,000 in medical debt. Rent 3 months behind, $3,600, eviction notice filed. Car needing $1,200 transmission repair that 3 shops had already quoted. Daughter's asthma medication costing $340 a month. Electric bill $847 past due, disconnection scheduled Friday. Lisa picked up every overtime shift the hospital offered. Had not taken a day off in 8 months. Her colleagues called her the nurse who never says no. Bruno Castillo, club mechanic, already had her car on the lift. Pulled it from the gas station parking lot an hour ago with Lisa's keys that Preach borrowed. Promised to return by morning. Transmission was shot, but so were the brakes. Rotors worn down to nothing. Tires bald enough to be illegal. Bruno looked at Hammer. She's been driving a death trap. One hard stop, and she goes through the windshield. Fix it, Hammer said. Everything. Make it safe. The vote was unanimous. Full mobilization. This was not about gas money anymore. This was about rebuilding a life. Brett Sullivan, lawyer, pulled property management contacts. Travis Kim, construction foreman, called every contractor he knew. Miguel organized donation networks through church groups his wife attended. By 2 a.m, the plan was set. By dawn, it would be in motion. Lisa woke at 5:30 Thursday morning. Her body trained to function on 4 hours of sleep. Mia was still sleeping at Rosa's apartment next door, would stay there until Lisa picked her up after her next shift tonight. She made coffee with grounds she had been stretching for a week, drank it black because the milk was gone, and opened the door to leave for the hospital. A note was taped at eye level. Car repair scheduled. 9 a.m. Bruno's Auto. Covered. Iron Cross MC. A phone number was written below. Lisa stared at the paper, her hands starting to shake. She called the number. A man answered on the first ring. Miss Martinez. Bruno here. Your car's done. Brought it in last night. Transmission's good. Brakes replaced. New tires. Club's handling the bill. Come pick it up whenever. I didn't authorize this, Lisa said. Her voice sounded strange, distant. You can't just take someone's car. Preach got your keys last night, ma'am. Should have mentioned it, but we wanted it done quick. Everything's legal. Title's still yours. Just safer now. Club business. Lisa hung up, sat on her front step. Cried for 5 minutes, then stopped because crying solved nothing and she had to get to work. At 7:30, Rosa knocked on her door, her face pale. 3 men just brought groceries. Big men. Motorcycles. They said it was for the kids. Lisa, there's $500 of food in my kitchen. They knew Mia's name. Lisa drove Rosa's car to Bruno's Auto, found her Honda Civic sitting in the lot, looking better than it had in 2 years. Bruno would not take payment, just handed her the keys and told her the brakes had been about to fail, and he was glad they caught it. Can't have Preacher's Angel driving unsafe, he said. At 8, her phone rang. Hospital administrator, confused and slightly suspicious. Miss Martinez, someone just paid your employee parking fees for the year. $1,200. And your cafeteria tab is cleared. $380. Do you know anything about this? Lisa did not know what to say. The administrator waited. Finally, Lisa said, I think some people are trying to help me. Well, the administrator said, her tone softening. You've helped a lot of people here. Maybe it's your turn. At 10:30, Lisa opened her mailbox. Letter from property management. Rent arrears paid in full by anonymous donor. Account current. No eviction. She sat in her car and called Preach's number, the one he had given her last night. He answered immediately. You have to stop, she said. She was crying again. This is too much. I can't accept this. We're just getting started, Preach said. His voice was gentle but absolute. You stopped for Sophia. Now we stop for you. That's how this works. By Thursday afternoon, the story had traveled beyond the club. Jessica Martinez, no relation to Lisa but daughter of club member Tony Martinez and a marketing professional in the city, managed Iron Cross's social media. She posted at noon. 3 years ago, an off-duty nurse stopped to save our brother's daughter. Today we learned she's been counting change for gas. Bikers don't forget. This is what brotherhood means. #PayItForward. The post included a photo of the gas station, of Lisa's scraped-together coins on concrete, of 19 motorcycles in formation. Within 2 hours, it had 10,000 shares. By 4 p.m., local news crews were parked outside County Children's Hospital asking for Lisa Martinez. Meanwhile, the club worked behind the scenes. Rick hit every contact in his union. Veterans groups mobilized through Marcus's network. Church communities reached out through Miguel's wife, Maria. Brett created a GoFundMe, titled it Help the Nurse Who Stopped to Save a Life, laid out Lisa's story in clean, devastating detail. The club seeded it with $5,000 pulled from collective dues. Target was $87,000 to clear the medical debt. Lisa arrived for her 3 to 11 shift and found 20 motorcycles parked in formation in the hospital lot. 20 men in leather cuts standing at attention. As she walked past, they saluted. Military precision, hands to foreheads, holding the gesture until she passed. Families watching from hospital windows. Some crying. Everyone filming on phones. Lisa stopped, turned back, tried to speak. No words came. Hammer stepped forward. "We stand with you, Miss Martinez. Today and every day." The news crews descended. Lisa, overwhelmed, told the story. Highway 52, the rain, the little girl who was not breathing. How she just did what anyone would do. How 3 years later she found herself counting change, and these men, these bikers everyone said to fear, had done more for her in 12 hours than anyone had in 2 years. The reporter asked about the GoFundMe. Lisa did not know existed. Preach stepped in, explained it, gave the link. The interview went live at 6 p.m. Local news, human interest story. Nurse who saved biker's daughter gets help from motorcycle club. Included footage of the salute, of Lisa's tears, of Hammer's scarred hands and kind eyes. Within 3 hours, the video had 2 million views. The GoFundMe hit 15,000 by 8 p.m. Comments flooded in. Nurses sharing their own struggles, working 3 jobs, choosing between rent and food. Medical debt from saving others while unable to afford their own care. The system breaking the people who held it together. Other motorcycle clubs from across the state reached out to Iron Cross. "How can we help? What do you need? Tell us where to send money." The Brotherhood was bigger than one club, bigger than one state. It was a network of people who understood loyalty, who paid debts, who protected their own. Friday morning, Lisa's phone would not stop. Texts, calls, messages, notifications, screaming for attention. She silenced it, but the numbers kept climbing. GoFundMe at 34,000. Local businesses calling to offer donations. Hospital employees organizing a fundraiser. Church groups wanting to help. Veterans organizations reaching out with resources. She could not process it. Could not understand how her life had become public. How her private struggle was now a story people shared. Years of holding everything together through will and pride and the desperate determination to never let Mia see her mother break. Now it was breaking anyway, but breaking open instead of down, kindness flooding through the cracks she had spent so long trying to seal. She called Preach at 9 a.m., sobbing so hard she could barely speak. "I don't understand." "Why? I was just doing my job that night." "You stopped," Preach said. "In the rain, off duty, exhausted from your own shift, you stopped. You gave my daughter breath when she had none. You gave me a future. That's not just a job. That's who you are. And now we get to be who we are. We protect our own. And you're one of us now. Whether you wear the patch or not, you're family." The electric company called at 10. Bill paid in full. $1,000 credit applied to account for future use. Mia's school called at 11. Anonymous donor paid for after-school care program through end of year. The hospital administrator called at noon. Pharmaceutical representative heard the story. Was arranging free asthma medication for Mia for 12 months. The inhaler that cost $340 a month. Free. By 2 p.m., the GoFundMe hit 63,000. A major news network wanted Lisa for their national morning show. The weight of visibility pressed on her. She was a private person, proud, uncomfortable with charity. But she thought of Mia, 8 years old, asking every night in a small voice, "Are we gonna be okay, Mama?" Thought of the possibility of saying yes and meaning it. Of life without panic, without choosing which bill to ignore. Without counting change under fluorescent lights. She accepted the gift. All of it. Friday evening, Lisa finished her shift at 11. Walked to the parking lot. Stopped at the doorway. her hand on the glass. 50 motorcycles filled every available space. Full Iron Cross formation, plus visiting clubs from 3 neighboring states. License plates from counties she had never visited. Men standing beside their bikes, engines silent. Waiting. Hammer stood at the front beside Preach. He held an envelope, approached slowly, stopped 3 feet away. Miss Martinez, GoFundMe closed 1 hour ago. Final count, $94,000. After fees, $91,000. Enough to clear your medical debt completely and fund an emergency account. Bank appointment is scheduled Monday morning. Brett will meet you there, handle the paperwork. Everything's ready. Lisa's knees buckled. Preach caught her, held her steady while her body tried to understand that the weight she had carried for 2 years was gone. She cried, deep, breaking sobs that came from somewhere beyond tears. From the place where exhaustion and relief and gratitude and disbelief all met and shattered. Years of weight crashing off shoulders that had been braced against it for so long, she had forgotten what it felt like to stand straight. Mia came running from Rosa's car where she had been waiting, scared because Mama was crying and men on motorcycles surrounded her. Lisa scooped her daughter up, held her close. Baby, we're okay. We're really okay. The bills are paid, the debt is gone. We're gonna be okay. Mia buried her face in Lisa's neck. Really, Mama? Really? The bikers did not cheer, did not make noise or celebration. This was a sacred moment, the kind that required silence and respect. One by one, they started their engines. Low rumble building to thunder. Formation ride, protective circle around Lisa's Honda Civic. Hammer led. Preach rode beside her driver window. The rest surrounded her, 2 lanes wide, lights flashing in the gathering twilight. News helicopters filmed from above. The image would become iconic, would be shared millions of times in the days to come. 50 motorcycles surrounding a beat-up Honda Civic, escort formation. Taking a nurse home safely for the first time in years, Lisa drove slowly, hands shaking on the wheel. Mia beside her, asking questions about the motorcycles and the men, and why everyone was being so nice. Because we help people who help people, Lisa said. Because kindness matters. Because sometimes the world gives back. They arrived at her apartment complex. The motorcycles idled while Lisa and Mia walked to their door. Hammer raised one fist, every engine cut simultaneously. Silence settled. Then, one by one, headlights flicked on and off. Twice. Goodbye in a language without words. Lisa raised her hand in return, watched them ride away, took her daughter inside, put her to bed, sat in the kitchen with the envelope Hammer had given her, opened it slowly. Bank documents, payment confirmations, a personal note in careful handwriting. You gave us everything that mattered. Let us give you a chance to breathe. The Brotherhood does not forget. Below that, 47 signatures. Every member who had helped. Every person who had seen her counting change and decided that was unacceptable. Lisa folded the note carefully, placed it in the drawer where she used to keep her wedding ring. Tomorrow she would go to work and face the cameras and the questions. Next week she would pay off debt that had haunted her since her husband died. Next month she would take a day off for the first time in 8 months. But tonight she simply breathed. The debt of kindness had been paid forward, and somewhere in the darkness 50 motorcycles carried that message into the world.